Hi everyone, today we're talking about sleep. What exactly is sleep? It's a reversible state of unconsciousness from which a person can be aroused by sensory stimuli. So it's a reversible state of unconsciousness. How do you differentiate sleep from coma? Coma is also a state of unconsciousness, but from coma, a person cannot be awakened. Whereas from sleep, a person can be awakened or aroused by giving a sensory stimulus. Now, sleep is divided into different stages. You have light sleep, then you have deep sleep, right? So there are different stages of sleep. But what's the importance of sleep? Now, sleep is a universal thing. It's there in every mammal. It's even observed in invertebrates. Now, this is kind of funny to imagine that even insects sleep, but it's the reality. Everything, every living being, every mammal sleeps. Now, if there's deprivation of sleep, it can lead to rebound sleep. Rebound sleep is basically the uncontrollable urge to sleep. And if there's any person or any human being, any animal, any mammal for that matter of fact, that lacks sleep or hasn't slept in a long time, they'll experience a rebound sleep. Other than that, they'll experience lower cognitive and physical performance. There'll be decreased productivity and there'll be decreased overall health. Prolonged deprivation can be fatal, as shown in rats that die after 2 to 3 weeks of total sleep loss. So this is also so amusing that if the rats they do not sleep for 2 to 3 weeks consecutively, this could be potentially fatal for them. Sleep plays a very important role in homeostasis. This is evident in increased sleep during illness. So when a person is sick, he or she tends to sleep more. Sorry. So the person tends to sleep more. That's because it's trying to conserve the energy, and that energy will be utilized for recovery. So sleep plays a major role in homeostasis. Now there are two types of sleep: REM and non-REM. So repeat after me. You have REM or non-REM sleep. REM is also known as paradoxical or desynchronized sleep, whereas non-REM is known as the deep sleep or the slow wave sleep. So this is very important for you to know. Non-REM is the deep sleep, right? I hope you didn't get the ASMR because I was drinking water. Lol. Anyway, so REM and non-REM sleep. Non-REM is the deep sleep, right? Whereas REM is paradoxical or desynchronized sleep. Now, when you talk about REM sleep, just remember the name paradoxical and desynchronized sleep. From here itself, you'll be able to recall a few of its characteristics. So, since this is a REM, first of all, this occurs in cycles every 90 minutes. After every 1.5 hour, you'll experience REM sleep for about 5 to 30 minutes. Right, and about non-REM, the deep sleep, for example, person has been awakened, he has been awake for long periods of time. For example, he didn't sleep for a majority chunk of time, so this person will have a very good sleep. The first hour of the sleep will be the deep sleep, right? Normally, even if you're really tired and the day after, for example, you pulled an all-nighter for your exam, and now you're like, oh my God, today I sleep so well. So the evening, when you're supposed to, catch up on your sleep again, you fall, you fall asleep right at 8 or 9 very early on, because normally you'd be staying up late and having fun, but now just that your exam is finished, after you put an all-nighter, you came back after giving an exam, and now you're so tired. But some people tend to wait till the evening because they know that, oh my God, today I'll fall asleep very early, probably even 7 p.m. And that first hour of sleep is the deep sleep, right? So REM is the paradoxical desynchronized sleep, whereas non-REM is the deep sleep or the slow wave sleep. Now, paradoxical, from here you can recall that paradoxical because brain activity is high. Even though the person is asleep, but the brain activity is high, therefore increased metabolism. This is similar to wakefulness. That's the reason it's called paradoxical sleep. The other character, so this characteristic we've already learned. Now, the other characteristic you can learn from the name paradoxical is all of this, that respiratory rate, heart rate, blood pressure, basal metabolic rate, all of this will be significantly irregular and fluctuating or also increased. So we've learned this as well. The other thing is that I've already told you about duration. What about eye movements? Now it's rapid eye movement sleep. So obviously here you'll have eye movements, and this is non-REM sleep, so there will be no rapid eye movements. You must have noticed some people, their eyes are moving when they're sleeping because they are in their REM sleep. And in REM sleep, whatever dreams are there, they're often remembered. And in non-REM sleep, the dreams are not remembered. Why is it so? Because in REM, the person's brain activity is still increased. It's similar to the wakefulness, so he'll easily remember the dreams. Whereas the person still sees dreams even in non-REM sleep, but they're not remembered, even the nightmares. So it's known as dreamless sleep. So if they ask you what's a dreamless sleep, so it's going to be the deep sleep. But it's not that deep sleep doesn't have dreams. The person still has dreams in non-REM sleep, right? Now, this is very amusing as well, the arousal threshold. Now, it's harder to arouse a person who is in REM sleep. Now, you may be wondering, REM sleep, oh, it's not as deep, so why is it harder to arouse? That's because the person, his brain activity is still functioning, right? His brain activity is similar to that of the wakefulness. So a person cannot distinguish between an external stimuli or external stimulus, and the brain activity. So it's harder to arouse. Because if a person is in a calm mode, he's in a deep sleep, his brain activity is close to zero. You touch him or you whisper or you say anything, they'll wake up very quickly, right? So for example, you can take examples from around you as well, right? So I don't need to give any example to you all. Okay, brain pattern. How about brain pattern? So brain pattern EEG, which is your uh, echocardiogram or encephalogram. What's the full form of EEG actually? Let me just find out because I think I've just said the wrong name, but it's something around that. Electroencephalogram. Yes, so it's electroencephalogram. EEG. What is it? Let me just write it down for you all. EEG. Electro. This is the E. Encephalo, which means it has something to do with the head. Cephalogram. G. Right? So I hope that's clear. Electroencephalogram. For the REM sleep, it resembles wakefulness, whereas for non-REM sleep or for the deep sleep, there will be slow synchronized brain waves, delta waves. Physical restoration. Okay, now very important, very important. No, in the REM sleep, there will be minimal restorative effect because the person obviously is not in deep sleep. Major restorative effects will be, for example, like tissue repair and growth will happen in the deep sleep. But very important, that memory consolidation will happen in your REM sleep. Right. So the cognitive benefits are more in the REM sleep. So this is a very important point that you need to learn. Right. And other than that, learning, dreaming, REM. What else with non-REM? Physical restoration and energy conservation. So this is something you need to know. And if someone asks you about muscle tone, so in both of these, obviously the muscle tone would be decreased. So that's not much of a discussion point. I'll come back to here, but before that, let's go here and discuss this in once again. And even before that, let me tell you about the brain waves. So what are the brain waves? Continuous electrical activity in the brain produces undulations, which are called brain waves. So basically undulations are brain waves. So why are these undulations produced? These are produced because of continuous brain activity. The continuous electrical activity in the brain is going to produce undulations, brain waves. These are recorded using an electroencephalogram. These just reflect levels of brain excitation. So you can get to know about the level of the brain excitation, such as wakefulness, sleep, or brain disorders like epilepsy. So what are the three things you can help figure out using an electroencephalogram, EEG? So these tell you about the levels of brain excitation. What are the levels of brain excitation? They could tell you whether a person is awake, what is the stage of his wakefulness, sleep, or brain disorders like epilepsy can be diagnosed with the help of the EEG. So, epilepsy, very important. Brain waves are generated by synchronous firing of thousands or millions of neurons. Non-synchronous signals are going to nullify each other, but how about brain waves? These are produced by the synchronous firing of thousands of or millions of neurons, thousands or millions of neurons. You have alpha waves, you have beta waves, you have theta waves, and you have delta waves. Now, delta, you can already associate this with the deep sleep or the non-REM sleep, right? Non-REM. What are beta and theta? So let me tell you, beta and theta and alpha. So alpha is basically if you just sit normally and you close your eyes and you do not think about anything and you're just sitting, for example, but you just close your eyes, right? For example, you're meditating. Let's imagine you're doing yoga. So that the if you do when a person is meditating, or he's just sitting and not worrying about anything, this is the EEG pattern, meditation, alpha waves. Or beta. Beta is when a person is actively studying, actively doing some task, and he's, for example, right now you're listening to this video, right? Your eyes are open and your mind is pretty active. So your state of EEG would be beta waves. Theta is normally in infancy, but there are other examples also. Let's just look at those examples. So this is an overview: meditation, active, infancy, and deep sleep, delta. Easy. So at least you should be able to say these. Now, alpha waves occur during relaxed, resting wakefulness, right? And they disappear in deep sleep or with intense mental activity. So a person is awake but eyes are closed. What about beta waves? These are associated with mental activity, focus, or sensory input, and when eyes are open. Theta waves, these appear during psychomotor emotional states, disappointment and frustration. Very important. These are also normal in children. In children, also in infancy, you will see theta wave. Rather than that, if a person is disappointed, frustrated, or there's emotional stress, or in brain disorders like degenerative states, there'll be theta waves. Or delta waves in deep sleep. They're also there in infancy, surgical anesthesia, serious organic brain diseases. So these are the waves, right? And again, so alert and wakefulness would be beta waves, relaxed wakefulness, alpha waves. What about slow wave sleep? We'll have delta waves. REM sleep will have similar to beta waves. So if they ask you about REM sleep, so similar to beta waves, right? And if they ask about synchronous activity, synchronous will be in alpha waves and asynchronous would be in beta waves. So do not forget, asynchronous is in beta waves, right? So here you can see surgical anesthesia and all of that, sleep, psychomotor. So surgical anesthesia was in the delta, D waves. Surgical anesthesia, delta waves. So you can see the entire attention. Attention was what in the beta waves, right? And eyes open and eyes closed. So if the eyes are closed, this is alpha waves, and eyes are open, this is beta waves, right? And yeah, that's it for now. And in the next video, we're going to cover the remaining parts of the sleep, and after that, we'll cover about seizures and epilepsy.